Hello, everyone. Welcome to a new episode of The Workspace, a space where we will be talking about business and culture, interviewing people with different backgrounds with a lot of experience to share and for us to learn. My name is Alejandra, and today I will be interviewing Gabe and Abra. This will be a very interesting episode, enriched with linguistic tips and with a fun artistic side. But before we continue with our guest, I would like to invite you to follow or subscribe to the Workspace podcast. It would mean a lot to me to have your support. Thank you. A creative linguist by day and linguistic creative by night, Gabe loves producing artistic and stimulating experiences. He was born into an Irish Spanish family in Malaga and moved to Ireland to pursue his studies and professional career. When Gabe is not working on translating, fine tuning, or localizing creative productions and multimedia projects like films and video games, he is rehearsing his next show or producing acts for Abra Kedavre, his performative alter ego. A night crawling, undead circus freak, Abra Kedavre is the clowny persona that performs a thrilling dance macabre and spooky gender punk cabaret performance. Welcome to the podcast, Gabe. Thank you for being with us here at the Workspace. How are you feeling today?
Hi, Alejandra. I'm feeling great. I'm super grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. How are you doing?
I'm fine, thank you. Starting with Gabe, of course, and I'm dying to know, and this is pun intended, to know more about Abracadabra. But
Oh,
first, I want to know a little bit more about you, about Gabe. During the day, Gabrielle. Can
hmm
you let us know a little bit about what you work and what do you do in the linguist world?
well, so me as myself, being myself, out of the clown, I am self-employed. I do have a long-term commitment with a main company, but since I got on board as self-employed, I can also handle my own little projects. And my main
Mhm,
field of work is localization in the overall broader sense of translating language, but adapting the concept culturally. And this usually comes in the form of productions of different kinds, be it a video game, be it a film, be it a platform, be it a book,
mhm,
anything that you could possibly imagine that deals with both the language, culture, and all the nuances in between, from history to technicalities, all those colors, all those elements is what I handle. So it's very technical. It
mhm,
can be understood as a science, but it can also be understood as a humanity, what we call field of study, humanity. And I'm very passionate about it. It inspires me a lot because um, I draw inspiration for other aspects and departments of my life. So if I work on something quite creative, like a video game, I also have to do a lot of research. I have to comply with guidelines that also
mhm,
require running background checks, playing, testing, and all these subtasks that are either handled before the project starts or once kicked off afterwards to cross check that everything is going well, especially again in the world of the more audiovisual multimedia expertise, which is mine,
mhm,
more than books, more than text, is everything that is audiovisually uh, creative to that extent. So if it involves audio, if it involves graphics, if it involves multimedia, all these media formats, that's mainly going to be my focus, my interest, and my field of expertise. So all these things inspire me, and yeah, I usually draw all that inspiration um, and let it define a little bit of who I am. That's why it took my while to go self-employed after my studies. It didn't start overnight, and yeah, I'm happy with what I've achieved so far, but I'm in no rush. It's quite an ambitious field. It's very difficult. It's very demanding. It's very challenging. And again, being self-employed is never easy, anyways. So,
yeah,
other than working the job, you've got to handle your own taxes. You've got to work on your again work-life balance, and yep. With all the fun comes the challenges, and I have to navigate and maneuver around them the best way possible.
exactly, exactly. And being self-employed is It can be hard sometimes, but it's
Hmm.
so gratificant because you can create your own workflow in your own schedules at the same time, and you can grow at
Yeah,
your own pace. So
absolutely.
yeah, that's my following question. For example, you work in a creative world daily,
Hmm.
and you have been working for several years now,
Exactly.
uh, and you have seen your work evolve as the media evolves.
Oh,
So
yeah,
yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
S- during these years, and what was the biggest change that you need to apply in your working life that back then when it appeared
Mm.
first it was different, or it wouldn't make sense, but now all makes sense? For
Hmm.
example, new trendings or tools that appeared.
Hmm.
How did you see your work evolve? For example, how did it went?
So I recall that before these last 2 to 3 years of restrictions and the pandemic lockdown and so on, even when I started my self-employed journey, I was still requested to be on site to collect documents or go through meetings. Regardless of me being a vendor to a company, I would have to be on site with them, a little tiny room in an office to discuss confidential information. I would have to comply with their systems. I will have to run certificates. I would have to prep my systems for them. And
Hmm.
now, present day 2023, or even before that, 2022, there were many companies that were leading by the example of going digital. And since the
Hmm.
pandemic, for instance, which is the most relevant context that I can provide to show you and explain how it affected me. So, right after the pandemic, or 1 year into it, um, there were many companies that were leading by the example of having a full digital model from the get-go, from their moment of being established and incorporated. So they were talking and just going big online about how everything is in-house at a remote office, having everyone else at their own remote offices, be it either a building or their homes. And that's pretty much what us going through and surviving the pandemic called for. It called for
Hmm.
clever solutions, smart solutions, convenient solutions for someone that has a lot of commitments but cannot go physically because of everything that was going on and feel safe to a certain environment, to a certain working place, to a certain any kind of space you could possibly imagine. And
Hmm.
all these needs were accommodated by let's just go digital, let's try to
Yeah.
stay digital. Let's see how far we go. And we've gone as far as handling everything from one point or several points of communication. But all these channels are on a screen, on a system, connected to many others, your colleagues, your supervisors, um, your connection network of people that you don't work with but collaborate, or that you get to talk to and get projects through. So all this, the fact that it just happens online from one tiny space and makes it out in the world to many other, is fascinating to me.
Yeah.
It may be, in terms of the technicalities, it may be more challenging because for onboarding processes, at the end of the day, you've got a team that you rely on to, but um, it's you behind the screen. So it's less social. It can be more
Hmm.
stimulating because you've got the people talking to you, you've got the people training you, you've got the people helping you out. So all these stimuli, all this great amount of stimulus is just at the same time a blessing. And I feel sometimes a curse because it's just so much going on at all times that it can make the task sometimes tougher. When do you take
Yeah.
your breaks? When do you stop to breathe? How can you handle now the even longer projects at way shorter amounts of times or deadlines, because everything's being so facilitated that now more things are coming in, for instance, not that this being an economic financial recovery for certain
Hmm.
businesses. um, there's this surge of workload that everyone's happy to want to contribute to, but perhaps not as prepared. And all this excitement and all this will to thrive all the time makes people rush or just jump into certain decisions or jump into certain workflows or jump into certain challenges that they may be ready to take on, but with that preparation comes of course, a lot of training, a lot of
Yeah.
patience, a lot of experience. So it's a challenge, a good one, but still a challenge. And I encourage everyone to um, jump right in, but also there's no need to rush. And it's not as useful or as interesting or as fascinating if you don't take anything away from it in a good way. If you don't learn from it, you don't grow out
Hmm.
of it. It's not as interesting or fruitful. So just take your time and yeah, jump right in.
Yeah, taking the positive side of things.
Hmm.
And that's always the best thing to tell everyone, that before the pandemic we're going, like you were doing, like I was
Hmm.
doing it myself,
Hmm.
going to an office and dealing with people, everyone, and we had all those bureaucratic things to fill and everything, and suddenly everything is at the click of a button and everything is there,
Hmm.
and we can rely on many people without actually knowing them personally.
Exactly.
So that brought us to a different aspect and thinking out of the box
Hmm.
with what happened.
Well said.
um, but you work on social media and you work with media, of course.
Oh yeah.
What, in your point of view as a linguist, and you work in localization and audiovisual,
Hmm.
what do you think that creators and businesses should add to their work, or how can they expand using a linguistic, for example, localization,
Hmm.
or or audiovisual, for example? What do you think that businesses or creators, because you work with
Hmm.
creators as well,
Hmm.
um, or what do you think that they are using now that we never thought they would be using, for example?
Mm. This is a great question. Thank you so much. So I guess it all depends on whether you want to perceive social media or social networks
Mhm.
as a means of communication, representing the social staple, or as a tool representing the technical workforce, or as well as an entertainment platform, meaning
Mhm.
a chance to enjoy. Um, I feel like one can easily resort to all three, but it's hard enough to make something productive or efficient out of all three at the same time. So if I want to focus on me thriving in my business and using a social platform, media network, I will perhaps, as a linguist, just network with people, in my case, handling little projects or posting about all these stories about what inspires them, where they're at now today and where they were in the past. If they want to talk about their business, countries, languages, what they work on, it's something that is clearly going to inspire me. I'm going to be happy and excited to talk about, and it can even help you grow. Um, now, trying to make a clear separation from that aspect onto the next one. The technical one, promote your business. So if you want to have your brand, a strong brand, something that people are going to find memorable, something that people are going to talk about, is more thinking of the example of the person that inspires me. So I would want to have my name out there, or my company, the name of the company out there, and just showcase what I do. This is what I do.
Mhm.
This is who I am, and this is how I am behind the screen while I work on these projects. I would perhaps talk about the projects online, leave other technicalities aside, and just represent. So social media is good for representation. You represent your concepts, you represent your projects, you represent your ideas and who you are. And that's also clearly a big, big, big staple and a big skill set to have. You hone in using social media, and it can be a great asset to the company. And
Mhm.
lastly, I think as an entertainment platform, it's just good to relax and have fun. Why can we not, professionals, for instance, just also have this funnier or more relaxed, not necessarily funnier. I know for one I can be fun, but just relax. Professionals can also relax and can just have a little bit of fun. Can either keep it private or public. for certain things, it's always good to keep a little bit of private layer, some levels of privacy, and personal space. But it's also good to
Yeah.
have that other side to yourself where you can still see or talk about or engage with something you like, still talk about it, but not feel like you're working it as though it were your job. So it's great for representation and visibility on, in my case, films, a lot of video games, a lot of the people working on them that talk about their progress, their journeys, and all that, and just a lot of insight into how things can grow from beginning to end, just how a project goes. At the office, for instance, you can also talk about it online and have fun at it. We've got all these behind the scenes videos going on about companies and how they grow, about films and how they're being made, even video clips and musicians talking about how they produce something. I remember back in the day, that was a rarity. It'll come out as a surprise, as a side B DVD disc that you'll happen to find, like, I don't know, and you'll be surprised to find, oh my God, the special edition includes a BTS. And now you can find all of these bits and bobs online
Yeah.
on YouTube, um, part of many other networks and platforms. And it's just fascinating to have all these staples of being professional, being fun, and just being social all at once. It's very interesting.
Yeah, the BTS is like I normally like to see it.
Hmm.
Um, while you think that you're having fun looking at the BTS, you're actually learning about that company and how they work.
Exactly.
So it's actually a good way to promote something via using the fun part of everything.
Exactly.
Gabe, talking about a different kind of things, and this
Hmm.
is, I know that you love gaming.
Oh yeah,
You're a gamer yourself.
gotta do it.
And I'm going to make the worst question to any gamer, which
Oof.
is what is your favorite video game
Oh my
and
gosh.
why? If you're like me, you have like 1,000 favorite games, but there is
Yes.
something that's, that game that you can go over and over and it's
Yeah.
there.
Oh my God. I wanted to go and say the easy answer these days. The Legend of Zelda, Tears of the Kingdom
Yeah.
just came out. People are going again, overly hyped and excited for the first one before they got the second one. Go a double run, finish both, going
Yeah.
caveman mode and not leaving, and breathing again fresh in the actual wild again
True.
for months for sure. But instead of going for that, I'm gonna go for what my heart is calling for and my head is calling for, and I think it's what I grew up playing. Maybe not a game per se, but a genre, and I love
Hmm.
the all good um classic platforms. So I grew up not necessarily with the best access to video consoles, platforms, and PC, but I did grow up with a Sega Mega Drive at home.
Yeah.
It was a second-hand, very old one that we happened to find at a flea market in Ireland. And when my parents moved to Spain, my dad still had it. And I just grew up with that in my household, and I had the best memories and time ever. It was not a portable
Yeah.
video console slash platform, but I would take it anywhere. I would have slumber parties or just go see my friend have a sleepover at their place, and we will plug it onto their TV, and we
Yeah.
will play Sonic 1, 2, Sonic and Knuckles, and Sonic, all Sonic City, all of those. Then after that, it'll come Sega Saturn, etc.
Hmm.
And it was just a whole big, big, big moment of just thrival together. Before it seemed to be as obvious, like little kids playing video games. Oh my God, I cannot get them to stop playing video games, go back to studying, go back to this, go back to that. Before that, to
Yeah.
me, I would just get a very lucky weekend. Well, I will just get up early in the morning, do whatever I had to do with my parents, and as soon as I was free, I would just be there playing with my friends, and it was just a great experience to share with someone else. But anyway, I'm rambling already. I would go with Metroidvania, which is a combination of both platform action-based games, usually 2D,
Hmm.
pixel art. It'll combine a little bit of dungeon crawling, simplified or more complex if you have to go treasure hunting or item finding. and it draws inspiration mainly from the pioneers of this genre, which is the Metroid and the Castlevania
Yeah.
franchises, but also more adventure platforms like Sonic and Mario Brothers, of course. We just happen to have two releases out recently, Sonic 2 and Mario. It's a me, Mario. And
It's a me.
and I just loved it. If I had to go back to those games, I'll clearly go back to those games and those times. But now thinking ahead of the future, I look forward to any single release that involves something like Sonic, Metroid,
Yeah.
Mario, and Castlevania, or anything that feels like that kind of gameplay as well.
I miss playing Castlevania.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and the music.
Metroid. Yeah. And Metroid, I did have it in my Game Boy, so the original
Hmm.
Game Boy
Hmm.
in
Oh wow.
green,
Oh
in
wow.
green, and it was my game. So
Yeah.
as soon I always had a game. I did have my Atari when I was 6, and and this was imported by the US.
Hmm.
So back then in Venezuela, of course.
Hmm.
And then after, well, actually, the Atari was only my parents playing because I was 6. So basically, they were the gamers. My parents were
Hmm.
gamers back then.
Hmm.
So, but Metroid is on, it's on my heart.
Yeah.
So it's that weekend of kids like doing nothing, and
Yeah.
that was the dream.
I remember when Metroid Dread came out. Whoa.
Yeah, yeah.
That was so unexpected. And oh my god, well, I should not say, but like, wow, I really became the thing, I became that thing. I became the Metroid. Anyway, oh, so good.
It was so good.
Mm.
Such good memories that we have.
Oh yeah.
As I said on the beginning of the podcast, you moved from Spain,
Yes,
and now you are living and working in Ireland right now, right?
exactly. Yes, I'm in Cork.
Did that you're in Cork?
Of Cork.
Did that change? Did that change, that relocation open new doors in terms of work? Is there where Abra started? How did you start Abra? Because
Okay.
I'm literally dying to know Abra.
Okay,
Um,
so let's address the work aspect first, being me, Gabe,
mhm,
and then let's transition into Abra, the beginnings of Abra, the in and outs, and how it's all going here in Ireland, I guess.
mhm,
So yeah, I wanted to make a move back to Ireland. I had originally pursued my studies and early beginnings of my career in Ireland, but then when I came back to Spain, I actually came to do an internship, and then shortly after that, the pandemic and the rest just happened. So I
yeah.
had to stay there for a good 2 3 years, like many people did. They had to stop
Mhm,
everything they were doing. Um, Early 2022, I felt like I was, in my case, dealing with a lot of social claustrophobia and open space agoraphobia and all the kind of feelings calling for a big change to your life that you could possibly imagine. And
mhm,
I happened to be doing okay at work. I happened to be doing okay emotionally. I happened to be excited for new projects, and I just talked to my family and I explained, and I shortly after um, spring, or early into spring, I started making moves again back to see my family in Ireland, in Wicklow. That's close enough to Dublin, just so that you can get a reference point. Um, Republic of Ireland, I saw myself happier there, more social, but social in person, in the flesh, not online.
yeah,
And
exactly.
that really was the little bit of that extra something that really helped me ascertain this is what I need in my life. It could have been any other country, of course. It could have been, I don't know, a new country, somewhere where they speak Spanish or English or any other languages that I speak. But I was just so happy to be close enough to my relatives and friends that I hadn't seen in a long while. Also close enough to one of the universities that I studied at the University of Limerick. Old
Mhm,
friends, all that. So it was such a lot of fresh air going on all at
yeah,
once, but also I soaked it in and I basked it in patiently. I was not doing big things right when I moved back. I was just taking it easy, appreciating every little step of these new beginnings. So I started off first with my family. Then I happened to go down to Limerick and Cork. I did a few things down there, and then I decided to just move to Cork because so Limerick is not too far from Cork, and I started in Limerick. When I was seeing my friends, either friends that I made from other parts in Ireland or abroad or whatever, and they happened to be from Cork, they had me over, I visited and all that. I just fell in love with Cork. It's such a nice little treasure. It's like a little gem full of excitement, full of opportunities, full of color, creativity, art. It's just amazing. And it's also close enough to the beach, the lakes, the green. It's
Yeah.
like amazing. It's got a little bit of everything that feels modern, everything that is relaxing, everything that is quiet, and everything that is exciting and louder all at once without being a big, busy metropolitan city like the heart of Dublin City, for instance, or something that'll take all those things that calm you down when you need. So I happen to have my besties living here, and I just moved. And when I moved to Ireland, I started with my family. So long story short, after a while, I moved down to Cork. And here I am. It's been over a year now since that move. It was a progressive move, but in my head, it's been almost like over a year now. And I am very happy as Gabriel in terms of business. So business-wise, everything is going well because there's only one hour of time zone differences in between what I had already going on in Spain and simultaneously what I had going on in Ireland already or in the UK, because my clients or the main businesses that I'm a vendor to or companies that I'm a vendor to, they're mainly either English speaking or Spanish speaking. So if I'm based in Europe, it's easier to work with European companies or companies with the HQ's headquarter in Europe. So Spain versus Ireland, there's just 1 hour difference. Should anything be different, it's just 1 hour away. So it's very easy to handle. I've only felt growth, perhaps more challenges, of course, but it's just a matter of time management or productivity or staying focused or not biting off more than you can chew, for instance, which is something I could learn for any self-employed person out there or entrepreneur. Again, back to enjoying the ride and being patient and being grateful and just calm. So if you're gonna pursue a new career, you're excited about it, and you want to take it seriously, with all that seriousness, do not take certain opportunities become bigger than you at certain times. Start small if you have to. Just don't handle more that you can take on, because not only will you have it hard while taking on it, but also it'll potentially take away a bit of your time for play, for rest, for fun. And if you're a one person business, that's never easy to handle.
Yeah.
So don't let your mental health be at stake. Don't let your time to socialize and relax be at stake. And just make sure that you can thrive with your ambitious projects, but without letting that ambition take away the person that you are.
True. True.
I promise
That's
this is
true.
not what made Abra. Abra is a whole different monster.
And who is Abra?
Mm.
Is he like a complete character, or is a part of Gabe?
So, first off, Abra is they, them. It's not he or she. And it's sort of like a mirror to myself, but peeks more into my true self, the things that I've gone through as Gabriel that I perhaps don't talk much about, or the things that I wanted to envision and achieve that I wouldn't do so as Gabriel, that I would require some light, some strength, or some shadow maybe to achieve. It's what I resort to when I want to feel more creative and navigate different realms of uh, just different ambitions that I wouldn't have in my business or myself as a person, as a Gabriel. Even though this is just performative, it really compartmentalizes the way I see certain things in life, the way I react to certain things in life, and the way I enjoy certain things in life. And whereas it's a funnier, sillier, goofier side to myself, it's more explorative, it's more adventurous, it's much more of a risk taker. And yeah, it can do a lot of things that Gabe out of the clown wouldn't do. And I say out of the clown because Abra, actually, now that you asked earlier, um, Abra started in the University of Limerick. It was 2016. Um, it was Halloween or close enough to Halloween, and there's this pub called Staples. It was like a social club where all the clubs and societies, like the Drama Society, Theatre Society, um, Poetry Society, all these, like Circus Society, all these clubs and societies that you've got, and you can join as a student at the university. So it's like a social club where you can just have fun on campus after studying, or organize activities all together for all students to enjoy, part or not part of these said clubs. So I was part of different societies. I was at the circus, I was at the poetry one, literature one. I just did a lot. I really enjoyed my student life. It was full of color and it was full of amazing people. It really inspired me to do all this. So close enough to Halloween, the Stables Club on campus at the University of Limerick organized a little Halloween ball. And I remember that year had been challenging enough because we had to do our final year projects. I was already doing a site double degree with a Spanish university that I had to go back to after Ireland. So I knew that I would have to jump right into for a little more than perhaps some people I knew were going through. And it's like, if we're all stressed enough already, and I know that next year something like this waits for me again, I'm just gonna have fun, and I'm just gonna,
Mhm.
breathe and have fun, and don't take everything right now too seriously. Just take it as it is, as it comes, studies, and have fun. So with all this fun happened, Abra, I just thought of a name. In Ireland, we've got Abra Kedavre with B, no with V. I'm sure they're in the UK, since you're also based in Birmingham.
Yeah.
You might have seen them around. I think they're there too. So it's Abracadabra. It's like it's a shawarma and falafel place. Now, if you happen to know me at my study, is like, let's say my life as a student, my student life. If you
Mhm.
happen to know me or mingle or hang out with me back in the day, you know that after a studying session or party, I would just go back home, making a first stop to get a few things. Falafel or wedges, of course. So yeah, I would get my best falafel at Abra Kedavre because it's fresh, it's quick, it's nice, and it's yummy, and it's affordable for a student. So yeah, with a few other play on words, Abra Kedavre happened, which is Abra, a gender neutral name, because I consider myself
Mhm.
performative non-binary. I don't want to represent gender. I want to represent gender euphoria. So I don't go by he, him, or she, her at all. I go by they, them, and I go by Abra. So I try to not represent any genders at all. And
Mhm.
then cadaver, not only for the fun play on words that reminds me of my good uh, student life, but also because cadaver, again, it's such like a fun performative way of exploring everything that Gabe's gone through, overcome. And I'm not only talking about the things that feel tough, I'm talking perhaps more intense experiences. Um, so cadaver is
Yeah.
like a corpse, and it's a corpse of survival. So I've got a lot of excitement for just getting to, in my shows, for instance, represent concepts that are perhaps a little bit too abstract at times, but there's clearly a
Mhm.
message. There's clearly a social message. They're highly political. They're highly empowering. And not only me as a performer, not only me as an I do this for myself, I do this with love and for the love. No, no, no. I also do it to inspire others. And I'm not great at social media. I'm great with technology, but it's already such a big part of my job that I'm not great at social media. So, regardless of being small on social media, I've noticed that I've been getting quite good feedback, and people just come back to me and say, "Hey, you did this. Thank you so much." Or, "You did this. I couldn't keep my ass off from you." Like, I just, wow. So to me, and I know it's hard to make it sound humble, but honestly, I'm so grateful that I can get the message across and that people can take something away from it and go back home and feel like they're a little bit of a different person, or that they've navigated through something they needed someone else to show them that was already within themselves, or show them that it's okay to, Abra is a clown. I'm the goofiest version of
Yeah.
myself that I could possibly be. Don't take life too seriously. It's not like you're gonna get out a life of it.
True. And about Abra, and you know, because this is a circus performative
Yeah.
character
Oh yeah.
that you created, what can people expect from your show?
Well, trying to avoid all these redundant statements, I would love to start with a little bit of um, things that I'm good at, so that people can start feeling a bit like just drawn or lured in. Every concept can be a good concept, that you need
Mhm.
something to use as vehicle to draw that attention to yourself. So I feel I may not be great at great things, like I may not be great at many, 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 many things, but the things I'm good at, I think I positively exploit them. So I'm professionally trained and certified as a dancer. I've done a good number of ballet, modern, and aerial dance forms like pole
Mhm.
dance,
That's nice.
silks, and hoops. So all that training really helps me express myself. And if I have a good concept, being more objective or being more abstract, it really helps me convey it. So I play around with costumes, with a lot of dance, with a lot of gender bending, and dance really is what helps me deliver this production. I would create my own pieces. I would work on a standalone concept. I don't ever repeat the same things over and over again. I make sure everything is alignment with the music that I'm going to be using, if any, or I produce the tracks myself, or I mix them myself. And everything is just, in a way, to me, um, a little piece tailored for
Yeah.
that very moment. It's not something that, even if I wanted to, would feel the same ever again. I also tailor it for the audience I feel is going to come see them. And I also tailor them to uh, Abra, really, just for myself, and for
Yeah.
Gabriel. Is like, I'm feeling this particular way right now. I've been given the opportunity to perform at this place at this time. I want to connect all the dots and navigate through this experience and have everything and everyone that's going to be going all at once uh, create this, whatever it is, something else. So I'll feel like I accomplished something, and I'll feel different. Usually, very, very good after a show. Um, I want to keep it humble, but at the same time, I have to admit that I really put myself out there, and I put all my effort, and I invest all my energy and all my dedication and all my passion into every single
Mhm.
production that I'm a part of. And honestly, I can see it in myself, but also finally, I can also see it in other people. That celebratory standing ovation or moment of kneeling down that you get when you're done and you're leaving the stage, it really speaks volumes of the, not myself, just the energy that the audience brought, the energy that perhaps you unlocked in the audience, or self-celebration, um, just all those ambitions come to fruition, and
Mhm.
inspire others, really is um, what motivates me to keep doing what I do. It's a lot. It's not easy. It can be even harder than my main business, um,
Mhm.
but because it really, really, really connects many, many, many dots, and it draws inspiration from all the creativity that I explore with my business. I have so many tools to resort to, and so many things that inspire me, that for me it's actually, I'd say, easy to keep going. It's demanding, it's physically demanding, it's mentally demanding. You can feel
Mhm.
exhausted after 2, 3 shows in a month. This month alone, I've done 6 shows already, and I've got 2 more to go. And it's also because not only in Cork, but also all across Ireland and the UK too, we've got festival season. Gig
Mhm.
culture is really exponentially growing now, especially after the pandemic. many of the organizers and producers that have taken the longest after the pandemic to bring their own stuff back again and put it live.
Yeah.
They're doing it again. So we've got all these festivals, all these production companies, all these just event organizers, everything going on all at once. So it's really, 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 really it's full of opportunity. That's what I try to say. And
Yeah.
yeah, it's as motivating as exhausting. But again, I'm right now.
It's good.
I'm
Yeah.
still, yeah, exactly. It's good. I'm still young, so we'll see when I'm close enough to my deathbed. But since Abra is an undead character, that might as well need to wait for a little bit longer to
It-
they resurrect me and send him back to the grave.
it's actually wonderful
Yeah,
to hear that, and you're always so busy with work and doing all the shows, and people,
yeah.
one of the things is that people accepting and enjoying the artist's work must be like you say, like after the whole session, the whole show,
Hmm.
it brings it brings you to a calmness and
Oh
to
yeah.
something that is so gratifying for you as an artist and as a person as well,
Hmm.
and you have been creating in your artistry. What can you say in less than 2 minutes
Mm.
if someone wanted to start performing, or those that already do and are listening now? um, what tips can you share with them about how to market your character or your show as a full-on artist? How do you market yourself? How do you put yourself out there to be contacted and to people know? For example, in your case, Abra, how can an
Perfect.
artist like you do? How can you market yourself?
Okay, so first off, find your audience and find what you want to do. So if you're a performer, make sure that you've got good connections and can network with those organizing venues or friends that you know, relatives that are involved, people you see that you admire. Try to get a chance to talk to them. Hopefully you'll get it, and hopefully they'll show you the ropes into getting your first show. Once you make it happen, just take it easy. Don't feel the pressure or over excitement to keep going and making it big. Just take a step back, focus on how you've done, how you feel, and now if you like to repeat. And after taking that step back, you're ready to take them forward. Decide whether you want to have your little portfolio on a website or on
Hmm.
Instagram. I do Instagram, it works very well because it's very visual. People resort more to TikTok and all these social media. Choose the one that works for you. In my case, it's Instagram. And just put yourself out there. Whether you get your next show and whether you surround yourself with the people that help you thrive, just get yourself out there. Talk about the things that fascinate you, talk to other performers, talk to venues, try to bring your own show. Just don't be hoping all the time that you'll be contacted to be part of one. You can also put your ideas out there. People will be excited to see what you've got to say and what you've got to show too. It's a bit of a challenge. There's a lot of, I don't want to use the word competition, but because of the algorithm, because of the many accounts, and because of the many things going on, it's just hard to compete against the lack of visibility when there is so much visibility already. So don't feel afraid of starting small. I myself are like, Abra only has like 30, just sorry, no, 330 something max, 310, I'd say, followers. I only have that little bit of a following, but I can barely stop to take a break. Like I've gone nonstop for months, and I've reached my peak, my biggest, most performative season right now. I am nonstop. So don't be take everything with encouragement, and do not let anyone stop you. When you perform, there's going to be certain challenges. You can feel like you might be overworked at certain shows and underpaid. You may be asked to pay to get your spot at a venue to perform. I would try to, I encourage everyone right now, especially after, in my case, certain things that I've experienced in Dublin and in Cork at different venues. Learn to say no as well. You don't have to say yes to everything. And that I also apply to my own business. Don't say yes to everything that doesn't feel good, doesn't sit well with you. Every good producer, every good organizer will pay you well, will treat you with respect, and will show you gratitude, and will give you the opportunities that you deserve. So if you've got to say no, that's something or someone that doesn't make you feel good or help you thrive, learn to say no, because you'll be way more grateful later on in the future. You'll be creating a positive standard that many other people will thrive in, and you'll be changing things around if improvement is needed. You'll also be preserving and curating the art forms, and that also only helps produce even better and bigger shows, which is what both producers want and what all performers want as well. And yeah, take care of your mental health. Performing is emotionally challenging and physically demanding. So if you're going to put yourself out there, make sure that you bring yourself back home in a safe way, and that you're safe in your head and in your body. Take good care of yourself and nourish everything as much as you inspired others. So that's the least you can do. Be grateful for the opportunities and have fun.
An amazing tip that it's the learning to say no sometimes,
Yes,
because people tend to think that if I say no, I will not be contacted, and that's not the truth.
exactly.
And you will set up a standard not only for your work and for your expertise, but actually to the quality of what you're going to
Exactly.
deliver. So that was the best tip that I ever heard.
Oh my God.
um
Thank you so much.
seriously, because sometimes people don't know how to say no, because as a self-employed, you think that I need to work more, and sometimes we work more that if
Mhm,
we are employed, um to a company
mhm,
or to another place. But actually, as a self-employed, we work a lot because it's for us.
mhm,
And sometimes we need to just learn and say no, like,
mhm,
no, this is not what I want to deliver, or I'm just stressed and emotionally not available to do this, but I need to do it, and you won't
mhm.
deliver the best in you. And can Abra
Mm.
tell us a fun story
Oh
from
my God,
one
yes.
of their performance?
Yes.
Bring the
Wow,
fun.
oh my, I had to go in. I went quite fast on that one in my head because it was just a very recent one. Um, so I was in Waterford. That's a neighboring county, very close enough. It's 1 hour, 1 hour, 30 minutes away max from Cork on a drive. So we were doing a little cabaret show.
Mhm,
And while I didn't have any of the tools that I use to dance the way I do or perform the way I do, I find like I can also do a bit of cabaret and burlesque. Um,
mhm.
I can bring those kind of like those elements into my shows too. So I was very excited for the opportunity. I created a Frankenstein wig that would be the house to a very interesting neurodivergent queer brain full of color and wired in particular ways, so that I could carry that little message of I don't need to show you a flag to show you that I am this, you know? So
Yeah.
I've got all these little surprises going on. So I had a lot of pieces with me. I had a lot of clothes layers, just a lot of things going on. And I also had a lot of glitter, and I had a lot of dance moves that I wanted to do to make up for the lack of or the things that I know I couldn't do on the like at that kind of space. We all had fun eventually, but even though I tried to rehearse one of the moves on break, when my number was on, there was a lot of people. I was slightly nervous, and apparently behind the curtains, a little platform that I had tried to put together so that I could feel safer doing this move. I'll tell you what it was in a minute. It turns out that apparently some crew or staff members that were working a different kind of job or task at the venue had slightly moved that platform.
But yeah.
So I was doing a handstand after taking off the all
Oh
these
god.
layers on the wig and all that. I was doing a handstand. I'm well trained for this, so I usually don't need this platform. But because I knew it was there, or I should correct myself and say because I thought I knew it was there, um, I went all in to pull out even stronger and upright handstand so that I could perhaps jump into something else and do a little backflip or whatever. So the platform was not there. Instead, it was like half a pile of tables, missing the ones that I had particularly chosen to put there. And I could feel my legs sinking in all the way behind the curtains, and all those drapes and all that red fabric swallowed me entirely all the way back to the stage. And not only that, but the upper part of the curtain, which is actually attached at the little bar or the
Hmm.
top of the ceiling, started detaching a little bit, and it
Oh
didn't it
dear.
didn't really fall. Like, it didn't really fall at all. It was actually a little thing. It's bigger in my head than it was in reality, but because you want to be professional, you're always worried for these things. So
Yes.
it swallowed me whole all the way back, and I put myself together on the floor. I didn't fall or anything. I just made a safe landing, what we say in the world of performers. So I did a safe landing. I quickly checked and felt the curtain. I saw everything was okay, and to make it funnier, I just opened the curtains slightly to walk into it, like put myself backstage. And then by the time the beat drop, the music that I was using had several drops and different catchy elements to it. So when the beat dropped, I just peeked outside without hair, just exposing a whole colorful brain. And I went all the way up and down with my head. Then I fully opened the curtains, I closed them, and I started doing the backflips and all those things again. Sorry, not the cartwheels. Anyway, my act kept going. And I felt like after that little hard pill to swallow, I feel, I could carry on and roll with the punches. And what's even bad is like, the best part is like, when I thought I was doing the worst, actually people were supporting and laughing and cheering on and
Yeah.
clapping the most. And by the time my number, when the whole act was finished, what I got was a standing ovation, a whole lot of clapping, and people kneeling down. Like I felt glorified. I don't think I've ever felt like this in a very long time, especially after messing up a part of my number. So I'm quite grateful that that's the energy that was created at that particular time, at that particular space, because it was a new space, a new experience for myself. I had never performed at that venue. And thank you so much, Revolution Waterford, for the amazing energy. I am so sorry that I detached a little bit your curtain, but thank you so much for putting it back together for the next performer to take over after me. That was very professionally handled, and thank you so much for your support.
Oh, that's so nice. So after all the things you say, people are super supportive.
Yeah.
It's so nice to see that. It's so
Hmm.
nice to see that. And now for our last question, where can we find Gabe and where can we find Abra?
Oh, thank you so much. Um, So I'm going to keep it simple for both. And for Gabe, myself as a person, as a professional, self-employed individual, I do have my little business. If you think there is a localization, translation, or a visual project that you believe I can help you with in Irish, English, Spanish, or French, please find me via email, contact, send your inquiries, and it'll be a pleasure to try and help you out. My email is gabegonzalez at xl8 ART, that stands for art.com, and it'll be spelled out in the description box for you. And as for Abra, the performative persona, the clown, the performer, you can find my portfolio online. I keep it on Instagram, where you can also chat to me if you want to book me. Feel free, don't be shy, and feel free to message. And if you'd like to run particular requests for certain shows, venues, or events, feel free to contact me via email as well. It's the same domain. You'll find it spelled out in the description, and it's Abra Kedavre at xla.art.com. You'll find me next at Dance to the Underground in Dublin and Club B Latin Night, representing the Hispanic heritage of Ireland, next weekend. And thank you so much, Rod, Dance to the Underground, Queen Marie, Orchid Queen, and Unalive for trusting in my art and wanted to showcase it at their place, at their home. Thank you.
And I'm adding on the description not only Gabe and Abra's email and all the links that you can follow them. I'm also adding the helpline for the mental health in the UK and Ireland and the US. If you're
Thank you.
battling with mental health, remember there is always help for you. And you can always speak to someone on these landlines, and they're very helpful. And thank you for so much to being in the workspace, Gabe and Abra. It was so nice to hear from both of you, to hear your experience in a field so vast that is the performative arts. And for our next episode, we will talk about procrastination, that little monster that lives rent free inside of our minds,
Ooh.
blocking our evolution and stopping our ideas and work, the little devil. And before we end this episode, if you haven't done so, I would like to invite you to follow or to subscribe to the Workspace podcast. It would mean a lot to me to have your support. Thank you all for listening, and see you on the next episode of the Workspace.
Thank you.